Berserk is indeed one of the greatest manga of all time, not just because of its art style but the plot, characters, arcs all make it an S tier manga. While this is subjective as an opinion since Berserk is favorite manga of many fans, but even from an objective standpoint, it has a ton of strong points going for it to support its position as not only the greatest manga but potentially the greatest fictional work ever. There are very few problems with this series, only it can be very dark and brutal and is not for people who are very squeamish. The protagonist is perhaps the most human protagonist you will ever find, as he is an anti-hero, not with the perfect moral compass and sometimes prey to cardinal sin, yet no matter what pushes forward, bearing incredible pain and suffering, yet never giving up. He is a representation of humanity at its best and worst, who exists not for some grand goal but for those he cares about and to survive. Out of all anime characters, he has suffered the most, and yet he finds it in him to continue living another day, bearing all the hell which comes with it. Griffith, the antagonist, is also brilliantly written and one of the most complex and deep villains of all time. One who seems angelic yet is truly demonic internally, one with firm ideologies and goals that he would trade everything for, an unquenchable ambition and desire to prove his worth, to prove the greatness of someone who was born a commoner. All the side antagonists and protagonists truly fit their purpose perfectly and are all different in so many ways. The art never ever dips in quality and is consistently mind-blowing and intricately detailed. And the story is narrative and the thematic brilliance, with each arc ripe with themes, incredible action, development for the characters, and much more. And the fantastic world building is some of the best we have ever gotten the pleasure of witnessing. Overall, Berserk is a fantastic manga that will probably never get a proper anime adaptation, unfortunately, and might never finish. Berserk's art is consistently more than a 10. It's among the greatest artwork of all time, and I'd say there are only a few series in terms of artwork which are even in the same godly tier as Berserk's art. This series uses excellent application of shading, and the amount of detail in each aspect of the drawing is absolutely stunning. It has a medieval feel and perfectly sets the tone. The art styles also often evolves in order to synchronize with the tone of an arc. The changes are slight but profound, and they perfectly encapsulate the depth and beauty of the moments in this series. Each arc in Berserk flows beautifully together, coexisting to create one incredible and thought-provoking tale. Even the worst arc in the story, the Black Swordsman arc, which sets up the series and opens a pathway for all the future arcs while also being packed with excellent action and beautiful moments, is a stunning arc. The Black Swordsman arc opens the series and has something of a reputation for being skippable. Ignore anyone who says to move on ahead to the Golden Age arc, as the Black Swordsman arc is not just essential to understanding the full scope of Guts' arc, it's an incredibly unique story in the context of Berserk's world. Beginning long after Guts had begun wandering the world as a Black Swordsman, there's an oppressive and lonely quality to Guts' journey. He constantly shuns away his only companion Puck, and he shows very little kindness to those he helps. Guts is a vengeful, almost wild man, but the action is incredible, the atmosphere is second to none, and the finale recontextualizes the entire story. The God's Hand introduction hints at Guts and Griffith's relationship, and Guts crying at the very end of the arc sell the Black Swordsman arc so much more than what it appears at first glance. Guts is far more nuanced than meets the eye, and revisiting the arc with a full perspective of what Berserk becomes makes it immensely enjoyable even if it doesn't shape up to the story at its best. And this elegance is displayed in just a few volumes. Then there's Godly Golden Age arc. My second favorite arc in the series, the Golden Age arc, is widely considered Berserk's best story arc, and for good reason. Flashing back from the Black Swordsman arc, Golden Age focuses on Guts' entire youth, beginning from his birth and ending with his betrayal at the hands of Griffith. Golden Age shows a lighter world, one full of hope and promise that matches Guts' youth, but it doesn't shy away from horror. Guts is a victim of a sexual assault very early on, and is forced to deal with this trauma as he develops a relationship with Casca. The eclipse the Golden Age builds up to remains the most chilling moment in Berserk, a systematic killing of every named character other than Guts, Casca, and Griffith, and even then, Guts and Casca are damaged beyond repair. The eclipse is easily one of the best fictional moments of all time as it portrays Griffith's mental state and his twisted mindset. It lays bare the truth of his character and sinks Guts and Casca into a very depths of darkness while Griffith gains godly power. The arc has excellent application of character writing and helps set the foundation for many memorable events and scenes which take place later in the story. The Golden Age is a tragic, beautiful story but not even Berserk at its best. Then comes the Conviction arc. The Conviction arc is notable for almost serving as two arcs, Lost Children and Binding Chain Ceremony. The Lost Children arc is tonally very much in line with the Black Swordsman arc, with the elegance Kantaro Moira developed while penning the Golden Age arc, great action, somber and excellent development for Guts. Lost Children leads directly into rest of the Conviction arc. Conviction fleshes out Berserk's world even more by introducing the Holy Iron Chain Knights, new antagonist foils for Guts on his lonesome adventure. The supporting cast is also rounded out by Serpico and Farnese, two incredibly memorable antagonists who even go on to join Guts' party when all is said and done. The arc's main antagonist, Mosgus, stands out as one one of Berserk's most memorable villains, a character you really love to hate. While the Conviction arc lacks the same punch that the Golden Age and Falcon of the Millennium Empire's arc have, it's only post-Golden Age arc to resemble the Black Swordsman arc, which has immense value in and of itself. It helps show the cruelties of humanity at their full display, one of the core ideas of the story. The Falcon of the Millennium Empire arc is arguably what divided Berserk into before and after. With the Conviction arc over and done with, Guts found himself slowly forming a party. After the eclipse, Guts slowly started to psychologically and mentally deteriorate as the darkness within him slowly started to take over. Meanwhile, Griffith as Femto is achieving his dreams and goals and rising in the ranks, doing world-changing things and commanding alliances and fighting wars. It's a splendid contrast. Guts is fighting his own inner personal battle and losing, while Griffith is winning grand-scale wars. But then it's Guts' new friends who help him slowly but surely rise back and fight off the darkness within his soul. He was taking care of Casca alongside Puck, Serpico and Farnis joined him. They are eventually rounded out by Isidro, a young swordsman, and Shirke, a young witch. Everyone develops wonderfully as Guts himself warms up to the idea of letting himself connect with the group again. All the while he's battling his own Griffith-esque demons. This is physically manifested through the Berserker's armor, a suit of armor which greatly amplifies Guts' strength at the expense of his body. Filled with outstanding action, plenty of memorable set pieces, and the return of Griffith as an active presence in the plot, the Falcon of the Millennium Empire is the most classically epic Berserk has been. The arc begins as a result of Griffith Guts' arch enemy and the story's chief antagonist, triggering the Great Roar of the Astral World, an event which spliced the physical and astral realms together, with no distinction between realm of a man and of that of spirit. A new age is ushered in which humanity has no choice but to take shelter in Griffith's kingdom, Falconia. All the while he leads the march as humanity's last hope as Guts and his party enjoy the boat ride towards Elfhelm in hopes of restoring Casca's mental state. The Fantasia arc has primarily been moving pieces around Berserk's playing board, setting the stage for Guts' inevitable confrontation with the God Hand. There's plenty of intrigue being built and it's helping to set events on a grander scale. Up until now, it's been narrowed down, but this arc helps build up the final aspects of the story. Each arc is stunning and glorious in every fashion, elegant and beautiful. It tackles philosophy, psychology, battle and its nuances and cruelties, moral ambiguity, a variety of different aspects, and weaves them in a beautiful story. Each arc is brilliant and never falters in its quality, and honestly, I can't think of any glaring flaws. Out of all the protagonists, Guts is probably the most human. Put him in any story and he will fit. Guts is a man driven by human emotions. He endures hell, yet he pushes through it. He is not devoid of sins like many protagonists who are pure good guys with the best moral compass. And he has killed and destroyed, and he does not pretend like he is flawless. He accepts his flaws because they are part of who he is. We see multiple times that he comes to his sins and commits wrong acts, and he doesn't try to excuse that because he knows there is no point. He doesn't make excuses, he simply accepts and continues living. He does not seek to change any place he goes to or defeat monsters. He has his own challenges, and like most human beings, he has his own life to worry about. And like most humans, he would not throw away his life for a random strangers. He does not act like a superhero and exists in a moral grey area. Guts is a representation of all our humanity, what we go through except multiplied by 1,000. His experiences are a microcosm of our own, because every human's life is filled with ups and downs, and you just have to push forward. Every day we endure challenges, but like Guts does, despite the lows we are put down to, we should still strive to push forward. Guts is inspiring and philosophical, but also extremely human and flawed, and it's balance that makes him my favorite seinen protagonist, because Guts is realistic like no other. The fingerprints of Griffith are basically marked on every major event in the story. Griffith is one of the most brilliantly written antagonists in all of fiction. The way he contrasts with Guts is amazing. I mean, on the outside, Griffith is this seemingly angelic being, while on the inside, he is inhuman. He traded his entire mercenary group in order to become the Femto, and did some stuff to Casca and Guts. Meanwhile, Guts is this seemingly barbaric, savage rogue, when in reality he is better than a lot of people. Also, before the whole Femto thing, Griffith and Guts seem to be the best bird, and this was formed from a sense of mutual respect. Griffith says he only respects those who have their own ideology. Everyone else, every other member of the Band of the Hawk, just blindly follows Griffith and his vision. But Guts is different. While Griffith helps him find a sense of purpose, he is his own individual and is not like a slave to Griffith's ideology and vision. And so Griffith forms a bond with him. and due to his obsessive complex, he feels like Guts is his, that Guts belongs to him. He starts to need Guts, and when Guts leaves, he is devastated because he didn't get what he wants and something he holds dear has left him and he can't do anything about it. Griffith is obsessed with Guts because Guts has his own free will. Guts is so close to Griffith because of how much their personalities connect and because of how much they respect each other mutually that when Guts leaves, Griffith feels like a part of himself is missing. Something he needs has left him and he hates it, and so he rapes Charlotte and gets imprisoned and tortured. Griffith is an empty shell of what he once was and he blames this on Guts leaving him. So in order to exact revenge on Guts and return to his former glory, he becomes Femto and ruins Guts like Guts ruined him. After that, Griffith, a member of the God Hand, did many things. One of these is once he united humans and demons. That is how charming, charismatic and deceptive Griffith is. He was able to do what is considered impossible, and throughout the story, in basically every major event, there is something connected to him. The story follows him as well, his crusades, his battles, his journeys, almost as much as Guts. Griffith is amazing and I cannot praise this guy enough. Both are paragons of their type of character, Griffith being among my all-time favorite fictional antagonist and Guts being my favorite fictional protagonist and second favorite fictional character ever. The cast is also extremely compelling. There are strong female characters like Casca, Shirke, Furnace and many others. Each character, despite not being as compelling or as important as Griffith or Guts, each have their own unique backstories and past. There are many smaller antagonists like Ganishka and Mosgus, each who challenge the other characters and who each present a different theme and ideology. Ganishka is a much grander scale threat who opposes Griffith's dream. We see a ton of different sides to the overall tale. Each character is fleshed out and adds something rich to the story. The Band of the Hawk were individually very likable and their dynamics felt tangible and human. Berserk has top 5 world building in anime for me. It's right after Made in Abyss and One Piece and alongside Naruto, Attack on Titan, Magi and other such series. Berserk, among many other things, handled world building amazingly and with delicacy. It's extremely fantastical and magical but also heavily medieval and realistic. Despite its beauty and appeal, it's a sick and twisted world filled with corruption and cruelty on both sides of the spectrum, on the human side and on the demon and monster side. It's also constantly evolving. It retains its same structure, but thanks to Griffith, it's changed a lot. Berserk is rich with themes. Themes are a major selling point for me, and Berserk handles them better than any other manga out there. It's amazing how so many concepts are fleshed out so well but never overtake the story or disrupt its flow. And it's amazing how Miura handles them with delicacy and gentleness, but yet he doesn't shy away from expressing their full capacity, effects and meanings. Berserk is thematically god tier, and I say this with the most confidence I've ever said something, and that's why Berserk is one of the most fan favorite fictional work of all time. And while this is subjective opinion, we try to be as objective as possible when tackling the greatness of this genius masterpiece. That's about it for today's video. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, goodbye.